6 world titles under his belt. He's been named one of the top 10 wrestlers of all time. On top of his talent, if you are any kind of a fan of the sport at all, you know that when it comes to Chris Jericho, you're in for a show. But a lot of people may not know, outside of the ring, Chris has another talent. As a matter of fact, he's just penned his 3rd book, The Best in the World at what? I have no idea. Chris Jericho, so 3 books.
It's like, do we really need this guy? This guy's got 3 books? What? Nixon's got 1. Why does he have 3? The reason for that is just like you said. I mean, I do a lot of different things, which all stems back to my 2 goals I had when I was a kid. I wanted to be a wrestler and I wanted to be in a rock and roll band. And those are the 2 things that I've done my whole professional career. And writing books is kind of an offshoot of that, telling a lot of the great stories from those things that I've done. And this is kind of the 3rd in the trilogy. This is the return of the Jedi of my books, and I think it's my favorite of the 3 so far.
So, Chris, in this book, you focus on 2007 to 2013. Why?
I knew that I had so many stories to tell that you couldn't put them all into one book, and I didn't want to limit myself into that. I'm a journalist by trade. I have a journalism degree. I like to write, and I just didn't want to have to downplay any of these stories. So I took my career and my life in sections. First one was to 99, second one was 2007, and then when they asked me to do a 3rd book, I was like, do I have enough material to write about in such a short period of time? But then when I started working on the book, I realized that I did. So, and like I said, I think it's very diverse. There's a lot of things in here, from, you know, reinventing myself in wrestling to create the most hated character possibly in the history of the WWE, to taking Fozzy to a different level, touring the world, doing Dancing with the Stars, going to Iraq on 3 different occasions, and getting stranded in a war zone. A lot of stuff to write about, and a lot of, like I said, diversity is the key word here. Okay, so let me back up here just a little bit. You said you recreated yourself. Why? Because I was getting stagnant. You know, when you're doing something as long as I have, at that point in time, it had been 18 years in the wrestling business. If you keep going back to the well too many times, I mean, ask Madonna. She constantly reinvents herself, her image, her look, still stays true to who she is, but takes it forward. And that's what I wanted to do. I just stripped everything down, quit doing all the things that I'd been doing. I had the countdown clock, the Y2J, the wacky jokes, the highlight reel, Jerichoholics, catchphrases, everything like that. I got rid of all of it, started wearing a suit and tie, started talking more low, getting more serious, and really dropping into this character that people ended up really hating, to the point they were attacking me on the streets, you know, throwing batteries at me in the ring, just a bunch of dastardly things, and for real, legitimately trying to hurt me, which sounds scary, and it was, but deep down inside you're thinking, as a heel, like, wow, this is good stuff. People, this is making me some money here. Okay, so and also, too, knowing that this is going to make a great story for the next book.
So you're just working ahead. I understand that. So you've always had nicknames.
That's it, yeah.
Have you got a new nickname now?
Well, that's actually, I wrote a chapter about all my nicknames and all my catchphrases, kind of the origins of all of them. Because when I sat down, I was like, man, I call myself a lot of stuff. I think there's like 15 different names. You know, Ayatollah of Rock and Roll, and Paragon of Virtue, and Y2J, and Jerichoholics, and Sexy Beast. And it's like, I better start writing these down before I forget them, so I can keep track of all of the royalties that I'm going to get on all the merchandise that's been made on me. And one of these days, I will get some royalties. I'm pretty sure about it.
It's going to happen.
Checks in the mail, I've been told.
It's going to happen. Okay, wrestling, writing, you don't stop at that. You're into acting, and good grief, what else?
Well, like I said, I mean, it all stems from wanting to be a wrestler and wanting to be a musician, and all the other things kind of stem from that. You know, I'm an entertainer. I've never considered myself a wrestler. I'm an entertainer, and I think it's one of the reasons why I've been able to do as much as I have. People always want to put you in different boxes. I'm not worried about being this, or this. I'm just worried about being Chris Jericho and just doing things that I find interesting and that I think is going to fulfill me as an artist and as a creative person, and that's what I've done.
Well, Chris, let me ask you this. I mean, you are one incredibly busy guy, but you got a family too. How do you balance that?
Well, I mean, sometimes it gets a little bit tough. I mean, but you have to, when I'm at home, I just stay at home. I don't do anything else. I get up with my kids in the morning. I make them breakfast. I take them to school. I pick them up. We do homework, all that sort of thing. When I'm gone, it's the worst part of being gone, but this is what I do. It's been my job since I was 19 years old, being on the road, and my kids have grown up with that, so they know that Dad's going to be gone. And I try not to stay away for too long, but sometimes it does add up to 5 or 6 weeks, and that gets a little bit trying, a little bit taxing. But we have FaceTime and Skype and email and texting, and then when I'm at home, I'm not Chris Jericho, I'm just Dad.
Your dad.
And that's the balance right there.
So what's next? What's coming down the pike?
Just doing what I do, man. Like I said, I think right now my career has kind of been built around Fozzy and our touring schedule. And sometimes I still go back to wrestle, but my days of being a full-time WWE performer are done. But there's a whole world of stuff out there, and now that I have, it's not that I have more time. I'm giving myself more time, knowing that I don't want to wrestle forever. I can't wrestle forever, especially at the high level that I've set for myself. But there's a lot of other things going on, and it's just exciting. I just sit back and just see what happens, and take each project accordingly and decide whether I want to do them or not. And no matter what happens, think in the back of my head, this is going to make a great story for the next book.
For the next book. Chris Jericho, the best in the world at what? I have no idea. Thank you so much for talking to us this afternoon. Now, if you would like to read more about Chris Jericho, all you have to do is go to WBOC.com and click on our picture at the top of the page. I think you would agree that's a lot of lives to lead and keep straight. Well, somebody else who knows all about multiple lives is this guy. At 4 times the average cat weight, his extra pounds are just one of his health concerns. Up next, we're going to learn what else vets are cautioning.
And I'm out here at Talbot Humane, where they're looking to get some animals adopted, but they're also looking to set a world record. I'll tell you about that coming up. The Marvel Life, we'll be right back.